and Fable Hero.
Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Atlanta. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Bueller, and we are underway in the 9th round. Pedro Carvalho, he comes from Brazil. He's on blue-black here, playing against William Huey Jensen, the Hall of Famer, who's kicked things off with a red-white build, which is interesting because I watched a little of his match earlier, and he was not on red-white.
So he's starting every match with the red-white version of his deck. It's a little more aggressive. It's able to win the game before the opponent has time to draw bombs. He's also got a blue-red, very sort of slow, control-ish, awesome grinding card advantage deck. The problem with the blue-red version of the deck is that if his opponent has, say, an Abhorrent Overlord anywhere in his deck, Huey can't win the game for like 20 turns. So his opponent is going to have time to find and draw and play that Abhorrent Overlord. So yeah, he plays this version of the deck. He also likes this version of the deck better on the play. So if he's on the draw or if he sees the right matchup, he will definitely sideboard into a totally different deck. And that's what we saw the last time he was on camera.
Sweet one here for Pedro Carvalho, though. He has Mogus's Marauder, which is not super exciting on this board state, but he's got Fate Raveler, and that card does a lot of work here. It's a 3/4 for 4 mana, and every time Huey draws a card, he is going to lose a life as well. So it does a great job of sort of playing double duty. I think 3/4 is really the sweet spot between being a great blocker and a great attacker.
Fate Unraveler.
Fate Unraveler, thank you. And he is going to be able to sort of dictate how he wants this game to go. He can keep attacking with it if he wants to start chipping away at Huey's life total and applying a lot of pressure, or he can do the opposite and sit back and block some of the creatures, and Pedro wastes no time in battling with both. 5 damage here, hitting the red zone. Just a 2-headed Cerberus on the blocks. There's a few cards that Huey can have here if he wants to turn this combat around, but he is uninterested. He's going to fall down to 10. And what's the follow-up play for Pedro? A Pain Seer.
Jeez.
Very aggressive.
Yes.
Blue-black here. We don't see that very often.
Nope.
This format, usually blue-black is more of a control color, but Huey Jensen finding himself on the other end of the control matchup. He plays a lot of control decks in both constructed and limited. Land number 5 for Huey, who has dropped to 9 thanks to the Fate Unraveler. Not too bad, though. Supply line Cranes for a tempo play. He's going to get in there for 2 damage in the air.
You're at 9, right?
And he's also going to attack with a 2/3 double strike. We see Pedro do some quick math here.
Taking the damage.
That Satyr Hoplite probably relegated to chump block duty or double block duty at some point here.
No, I'm certainly at 15.
Yeah, threatening 6, tying it up 9 apiece.
I'm at 6. Yeah,
Indeed. And I believe he's taking it. No reasonable blocks there for Pedro.
What is that? Is that Regress?
No, you know, I think that might have been Hubris.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah, Regress isn't in this
Hubris.
format, but yeah. Wow, and there's Gnarled Scarhide, and he's going to play all of them at once here. Everything gets haste. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, exactly lethal. And Pedro Carvalho puts a whooping here on Huey Jensen in game 1.
Wow.
I like that play.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
Mr. Brown's my own Mogi's Marauder.
Now, game 2 is going to be a lot different, though, because Huey's not going to have this red-white deck anymore. I'm pretty sure he's going to go to the blue-red with all that removal and card draw. Let's take a look.
The Unraveler, though, is bad news for the blue version.
I mean, yes, it's very bad news. Speaking of Fate Unraveler, here's another one. This one is Vidianto Ujaya, so he's playing against Nathan Holiday. Both of these players are also undefeated.
They are.
And it looks like there was a flurry of horns resolved at some point here, as there's 2 Minotaur tokens on the battlefield for Nathan Holiday. Comes from California. He is a Grand Prix champion, as is Vidianto Ujaya. So we've got 2 trophy holders fighting here. But you can see a card that if you watched our Pro Tour coverage over the course of the weekend, you are very familiar with. Courser of Krufik sitting there for Nathan Holiday. Now on the other side of the board, though, there's a lot of beef. There's a Cyclops of One-Eyed Pass and a Fate Unraveler, which we mentioned. There's also the 2/3 Death Touch Minotaur there, Fellhide, Petrifier, which is doing a noble job of holding off the team here.
we have any idea what the life totals are?
Quite important here. Nathan Holliday's kind of in the tank about what he wants to do. Is this Pinnacle of Rage?
I believe it's Pinnacle of Rage.
So
Pretty good here, right?
I think he's gonna. Oh, he's gonna kill
Just a
both
straight 2
creatures
for
here.
1.
Yep, just straight up 2 for 1 here. Not too bad though. Fate.
2018.
So we're in the early stages here, but Fate Unraveler, again, we talked
Holds
about
off
it
the
for the
team.
last one. Yeah, it's just gonna sit there as a brick wall and keep chipping away as well. There's land number 6, but no double black here for Vidianto Wijaya. He cannot cast that, right? He can't cast that card. Isn't it 4
Is he
4
gonna
BB?
discard? It is 4 BB.
Yeah, we got to make sure that they see that. Ooh, he already
He
discarded
discarded.
too. Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, that doesn't work like that.
Oh man, so much has happened since. I don't think that they can back it up from here. There was a discard, a play a
untap, a
land, an
draw.
untap, a play a land. Unless I missed something. Maybe I missed something here, but I'm seeing no double black for Thought Render Lamia here.
Yeah, Judge is pointing it out. 2 blacks
So,
there,
yeah.
1 swamp.
Because we had seen that earlier from VD, and I was wondering, is he going to turn 6 it here? But I'm like, oh, he played a mountain, he can't do it. This is awkward because it gets pretty tough to move through. We'll give you guys an update on what happens with that. Let's head back to our main feature match, though. Pedro Carvalho up a game, and there it is, the blue-red version.
He went to blue-red.
Yep, and here's Pains here for Carvalho. Seems quite good in his deck. Ooh, but not too great here. Kragma Butcher. Really solid card. But in they go. Mogus's Marauder is going to not only get in for 4 worth of damage here on its own, basically, enable 4 worth of damage, but also Painseer is going to get it an activation as well if it survives to his untap step. Carvalho, aggro blue-black.
Okay.
And Fated Conflagration is going to
Get
stop
that out
any
of here.
shenanigans.
I'm the card advantage deck.
Yeah, that's pretty insane because Conflagration hits a lot of really important cards like
Yes.
Fate Unraveler, which could come down next turn potentially. It kills most of the bombs in the format, and he used it on a 2-drop there. Had to do it. Now, Pedro Carvalho plays a lot on Magic Online. He's from Brazil, and he plays very quickly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so potential inspired triggers going to be on the stack here for William Huey Jensen and his Kragma Butcher next turn. For now, what does Huey want to do? Interesting. Everflame Eidolon, land, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, Doomwake Giant. This is a huge turn. That is going to kill the Eidolon. Oof. And boom, in comes Mogus's Marauder for another 2 damage. And yeah, it's time to start drawing some cards there, William Jensen. You need to find a way to get rid of a Doomwake Giant when you're in blue-red? Yuck. There's Doomwake Giant. That is an excellent 5-drop in this set at rare. Does a lot of work.
How much is that?
Oh, now we're talking business.
That's a 7/6,
Speaking of
right?
large creatures.
Yeah, our friend Thassa's Emissary makes an appearance. That's my favorite card from Theros right there, and he's going to use it to bestow up the Kragma Butcher. Get in there for a big chunk. What is that,
Yeah,
7
7/6.
damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's half of
And a
Pedro's
card.
life total and draw card. Though Huey is down to 12 here and make that 8.
But he's winning the race. He's essentially, with that play, turned it into a race.
Yeah, this is actually going to be interesting because Huey's got Lightning Strike in his hand. He's going to be able to kill the Mogus's Marauder and force a chump block
From Horizon
with the
Scholar.
Horizon Scholar. Yeah. And then it's a big turn because Pedro needs to basically play chump blockers for the rest of the game if he wants to try to win that particular race.
Wow. Rest of the game's only, I think, 2 turns with Doomwake Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Jensen at 8.
Couple of cards left. I think we're going to see Marauders get struck by
Yeah.
lightning. Down it goes. Attack you. And this is a must block. It's a
Yeah.
lethal attack, plain and simple. And Dakra Mystic is probably a chump blocker at some point here,
if
though.
it lives that long.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think
Any
he'll snap it
enchantment
off as
kills it.
soon as possible. No such luck. That's
jeez.
Ordeal of Thassa. That's going to kill that. Now, can he afford to attack here? He needs to be able to play something afterwards, and he doesn't have it. There's a trigger. And
It's
ye
another forced
old
chump block.
chump block. And now things are terrible for Carvalho. And he's going to scoop him up, and Huey steals that one.
On to game
thanks
3.
to Thassa's Emissary. Shelly beats.
Guess so.
Now let's look back over at this match and see if we can figure out what has changed.
This is the same game, right?
It does look the same. Those 2 Minotaurs are there. The Courser's
They put it back in his hand?
Yeah, because it's not in his yard. He cast all the spells that we saw there. Pinnacle of Rage and Flurry of Horns, we saw him resolve, and he would have had to discard a card of the lawman. Yeah, they just wound it back. It was rewindable, but, you know, at least from just like a eyeball perspective, but from a judging perspective, there's different factors that come in, and sometimes they're not able to do that, but they were here, it looks like, so that's great. And it looks like Magma Spray is going to take down an Anvil Rot Raptor. Nyxborn Eidolon off the top for Viti. He's got a nice hand here, though. Bolt of Keranos is going to kill the Tromper. And I think he's also got the Fate Unraveler in his hand, too, along with a Grim Guardian. Doesn't have enough mana this turn to cast the Raveler, but he can play the Grim Guardian.
Not usual. I play a little for sometimes. Yeah. Some people play so always. Sometimes I think about tough decisions. Yeah. Of course.
1-4. You lose life. Go for it. Fate Unraveler trigger hits. No attacks, though. They're just going to sit here and stare at each other for a while, but that Fate Unraveler gives Viti sort of a passive clock that ticks away.
Vulpine Goliath doesn't seem interested in standing and watching.
Agree.
He seems like he'd rather turn sideways.
Play a land, gain a life. I'm sure that Courser Crewfix is doing a nice job of mitigating the Fate Unraveler damage.
Yeah, a friend of mine, I don't want him behind his back. I played him at the Pro Tour. Oh, yeah?
Just saw Bruno Diaz walk by. You remember him from the Magic Online
absolutely.
Championship? Big energy guy. He's X and 1. And there it is. Vulpine Goliath hits the red zone and gets in for the full 6 here. And what is this? That is a Satyr Nyxsmith.
It is.
And it's not currently going to be attacking here. Too much defense. I also see that Eric Froelich managed to stay X and 1 for day 1, so another solid day 1 for him. He had some mana issues when we had him on the stream, but it's like
That
he
was his only
rolled.
loss?
Yeah, rolled elsewhere. So.
Did I hear Reed Duke had an elimination match this round?
Yeah. Why don't we pop back over to our main feature match? He did. He was sitting in X and 2 with a really nice deck.
It's surprising.
We keeping an eye on that. I am also surprised.
Jensen's still in the red-blue version.
Wow, Master of the
Feast.
Pedro
Big.
Carvalho really has found the aggressive blue-black list here.
I'm sure Jensen's happy to be drawing extra cards.
Do you think he's just salivating here?
I'm sure Jensen is happier to see that card on the other side of the table than on his side.
Pin it to the earth, Huey Jensen. Do it. pin that thing down.
Yeah, 5/5 flying, but your opponent gets to draw an extra card every turn. Their own little personal howling mine.
All right, looks like Huey Jensen,
That doesn't deal with Master of the Feast.
always polite though, has brought a gift for Pedro for his visit to
Draw one.
Atlanta.
Crazy.
Draw one turn.
You draw, draw, take 5, and this is exactly what Master of the Feast was intended to do.
Yes.
Beat down, and Pedro has not played. He's representing, you know, dissolve, counterman, something here. Didn't even play a land either. He only needs to be able to get through 2 more turns to just kill Huey here. 1,
Huey
2, 3,
drew.
4. Is this faded yes, it is. Faded conflagration. No, sir. Well, sort of
Wow.
no, sir. It gets hubris back to Pedro's hand. It's a game plan.
Yep.
It does also mean that Huey doesn't
That's
get to
his
draw
plan.
this turn, but
He
you're
thinks
right.
Master's going all the way.
Master of the Feast is plan A here. Another land there for Huey. Where's Huey's list? I want to know if he has Pin to the Earths in this thing. That is just like, I wake up in cold sweat streaming about having that. Well, actually, it looks like he's going for something else. He's just going to 2-for-1 himself to get rid of the Master. So he's going to use Rage of Perforos and Magma Spray to get rid of that thing once and for all. Remember, Pedro's missed 2 land drops, and Huey A has not, and B has drawn 2 extra cards off of that that Master. Yeah, not an exciting follow-up. He really was all in on Master of the Feast there. Servant of Timoret, it's nice. I mean, it's going to block the soldiers for a while, so it's going to keep a little bit of the heat off, but not the same power level of what he just lost. You like Huey biting the bullet there?
Yeah.
Just taking the 2-for-1?
Yeah, he's at 10. He can't really afford to mess around much longer. He's still up on the trade. I mean, he essentially threw 3 burn spells at it, got a Hubris and a Master.
Got to do it.
He's only down 1 card there, and he drew 3 extras, I think.
All right, that gets a little bit better, but still not great. It's basically going to draw him cards at some point and make Huey block a couple of times here.
Yeah, Huey's going to force the regeneration. Rather than just chump block with the soldier, he'll throw the Chimera in, forcing Pedro to spend 3 mana on regeneration.
Yeah, this is a little risky just in case Pedro has Necrobite,
Yes.
as Huey Jensen doesn't have any way to interact with it. Oh god, this is scary. No, all right. And Huey's
Conveniently,
like,
the regeneration costs the same as the Necrobite.
exactly. Huey just throws that soldier away like, I knew it. Interesting. Retraction Helix is going to get rid of Ordeal of Thassa and set back Pedro Carvalho even further, knocking off that Ordeal and making him recast that.
Yeah.
And
Plus, he got his cry out of his Pressure
Yeah.
Chimera.
and this is a 6 damage hit now for Huey Jensen as he is in beatdown mode.
He just seems to be in total control every time we watch him play. I mean, even when he loses, he seems like he's at least on top of everything, missing no tricks.
Agree.
He's looking for top 8 number 7 of the season. Not of his career, of the season. 6 top 8s.
I know a lot of people consider Huey the best in the game currently. You know, there's a lot of names that you could throw around as best player going right
Yeah,
now, but,
he's on the list.
Huey is in that group for sure.
Interestingly, though, he put up a good finish at the PT, got enough pro points to clinch platinum, but he's clinched platinum in the I get at least 3 points for showing up to the Pro Tour in Portland way. So he's on 42, he can get to 45. He's now starting to think about Worlds. Also, if he could manage to get to platinum before Portland, he actually gets free airfare, free hotel, and an appearance fee. So
That's a lot of money.
No, winning this Grand Prix, he basically gets like double prizes. The
interesting.
added value of hitting platinum before the Pro Tour is worth another $3 grand on top of the $3 grand he wins.
By the way, Huey kind of going off here, pull from the depths. It makes it a lot easier pill to swallow 2-for-1 in yourself as well when you can just get him back.
Right.
What did you do with this cry? Did you put it on the bottom?
If Huey gets anything less than a win, he does not hit platinum.
So then that would force him to have a...
Well, He's going to hit platinum when he shows up to Portland.
Oh, he's
It's
getting it
just,
either way, yeah.
Can he get the bonus? Can he get the benefits to kick in an event earlier?
So you're saying he could get to the finals, lose, and not?
He'll be at 44.
Oh,
you know what
brutal.
happens if he gets to the finals and loses? We now have a 4-way tie for 3 world spots. He gets to Worlds with a 2nd place. Or at least he gets in position, right? There's a ton of points in Portland. The pros are all thinking that like he probably need 50 to feel good about it. You know, the guys on 44 right now are definitely sweating that world seat.
Because they're going to get 3 points automatically
Yeah.
for showing up at the PT, so they're at virtual 47. So
But yeah,
basically,
they-
you need to do something at the PT.
Right.
Here's Sudden Storm for Pedro Carvalho to stem the bleeding a bit, but I mean, I just get the vibe that Huey has just completely ran away with this. He's got a full grip of cards, tons of land in hand, and Pedro really doesn't have anything going on.
Okay.
And here's a font of fortunes for Huey, drawing even more cards and some nice ones at that. Another font to keep the ball rolling. I saw that he drew a Thassa's Emissary. There's Prescient Chimera. What do you think Huey is here to win this?
Yes.
85%? 90%?
Higher. Over 90. I don't know if he's 95, but
Yeah,
he might be.
he's way ahead here. There's Rage of Perforos that he got back with the depths, and he is going to get a scry off of a Farika's Cure before it dies.
I'll gain 2.
Alright, so should I Skype for this?
I choose the trigger. Do I get to choose the trigger? He played this, then I, in response, played this and scried.
Doing a little math here, I guess?
No, I think they're clarifying Huey also
whatever.
gets a scry off of his own Prescient
Want me to
Chimera.
Skype?
Gotcha.
Whatever.
I'll just leave it on top.
Easy to forget
Okay.
Yeah.
after it's essentially been taken out of the game.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Sure it is.
You even see people sometimes forget that they can block with their pin to the earth creature too, which is,
Go to 6.
don't do that.
Oh, you gain 2 for
Don't
random.
turn pin to the earth
Relevant.
into a full-on pacifism.
We'll play Mountain. Go. I didn't play a lane, right? I don't think so. Sure.
And ye old Waperkin. That ain't gonna do it.
really what Pedro Carvalho needed
That's not
here.
the one. Vaporkin, fine magic card, not really great here.
William Jensen looking to move to 9-0.
What else
It's a good
is
start
new?
when you're basically
Randy?
all in on making the finals.
Combat?
No, on winning. Right? Finals isn't good enough.
Not true.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. All right, Feast of Dreams again, but the problem is Pedro's playing reasonable spells, but all he's doing is prolonging his death. He's not actively advancing his own game plan. It was all about that master. All right, that Prescient Chimera will not be held down. Huey can use all of his red mana
To get a
to
single
get
point of
to
power.
get two power through.
Just takes 1 point for the
And
Vaporkin.
that's going to do it. Hall of Famer, William Huey Jensen, in impressive fashion there.
Yes.
Switches over to the blue-red version of his seal deck. He had started with red-white throughout the course of the day, moved over to blue-red the majority of the time it felt like, and earned himself the full 9-0 start here.
Yeah, you can see how good his comeback has been. 13 Grand Prix top 8s in his career. 6 of them have been this season. He's looking for number 7. Be right on half of them.
You know, it's when he played, there weren't as many around. Now he's like,
True.
wait, there's this many? Like, I'll just
Yeah.
go play them all and just crush it.
So far, so good.
Super impressed by Huey. You know, I didn't know who he was when I started playing Magic again because he had been out of the game for quite a while, and he was just from a different era.
Mhm.
And when he came back, you know, he made a rally for the Hall of Fame, just sort of put his name back out there, but he realized, I'm going to have to put something up. Like, the people that don't know who I am aren't going to just vote for me because John Finkel says I was awesome back in the day. And he does say that. But he's like, I'll come out, I'll do some stuff. And he had some strong finishes at the open circuit. And then he started moving over to the GPs, and you started seeing him finish stronger and stronger. And now that he is back in full form, he is ridiculous.
Fair. Yeah, he's part of a whole generation of American Magic players that really kind of drifted away from Magic. Eric Froelich, Dave Williams, Huey. And a lot of them headed to Vegas.
Yep.
They pay a little better for the card games they play there. The thing
aware.
the thing that's always been awesome to me about that whole crowd, though, is they never stopped playing Magic for fun. It's just a better game.
It is the best game. I play both of those games
Yeah.
every day, and
Magic's just better.
Magic's the best game. It's the best game.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
As you see those guys, they keep coming back. They won't go away. They keep coming back. And then, yeah, when they take the time, I mean, Huey at this point is just playing Magic full time. Just more fun and make enough money.
Yep.
Who got game one? Nathan and Vidi?
I'm going to judge the smile on Nathan Holiday to be slightly bigger than Vidi's smile, and I'm going to give it to him, even though he was way behind.
Oh, we have a graphic at the top of the screen.
Is
That
it
helps.
updated? Yeah, Nathan Holiday. I had the read.
Good read. Yeah, American Magic in the mid-2000s, not very exciting. I mean, I was thinking about, how strong the Americans have been this year. You look at the at-large bids for Worlds, and it's all Americans. I mean, Canadians too, North Americans to be fair, but USA in particular is just having a spectacular season. You go back to the mid-2000s, there was a World Championship that only had one American in the top 32.
Wow.
Yeah, San Francisco, and he was like 20-something.
Wait, in the top 32?
At Worlds, World Championships, 1 to 32. Tim Ayton was hanging out at like 26th or so. That was it.
Unbelievable. Upcoming webcast schedule. Let's take a look here. We've got GP Manchester coming up pretty soon, May 31st to June 1st. That's Theros block constructed. That's the other Theros block constructed premier level event. It was the PT and now this. There's always an interesting evolution as we go to the GP that follows it up. People adjust to what did well at the PT, and then it ends. There's no more. It's not one of those things that keeps evolving forever. It's just sort of like, okay, we're done. If you like standard, which does tend to evolve, I wouldn't say forever, but for quite a while, certainly longer than block, Moscow and Chicago are the next two. GP DC, GP Milan, GP Boston, and Pro Tour Magic 2015 to end things out. Here's a turn 2 Brain Maggot for Vidianto Wijaya. I feel weird even saying that card's name. It's so disgusting. And it's going to reveal a Courser of Crufix, a Pinnacle of Rage, Leaf Crown Dryad, Magma Jet, and 3 lands here for Holiday. So Holiday's got a nice little grip here. No matter what, Vidi's not going to be thrilled with this. If he takes Magma Jet, his Maggot gets to live long enough for Holiday to find the lands to cast Pinnacle of Rage, killing that and probably something else. If he takes the Courser, then he can just get Magma Jetted next turn if Nathan really wants to get the Courser back. There's not a lot of great pulls here for Vidi. It's going to just be a speed
why
bump
would you
this
not
time.
want the Courser back? He's going to want the
What?
Courser
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, he gets all the options. Yeah. That's not how that card works.
No.
All right, Vidi's going to take the Magma Jet here and ship the turn back.
Seems right.
Yeah. So land go for Holiday as he draws a mountain, ships the turn back. See what Vidi's got for his turn 3. Brain Maggot beatdowns. And a Servant of Timuret, I believe, is his follow-up play. He's got a lot of 1-power 3-drops in this deck. Servant of Timuret, we've also seen Grim Guardian from him. Passes the turn back to Nathan Holiday, who's got one of the premier 3-drops in the block. And by the way, this is sealed, so not too bad. He's already played his land for the turn, unfortunately for him. He did reveal a forest, but can't play it. It's always a bummer. And here's Servant of Timuret serving in there. Nathan Holiday has an interesting decision here. He doesn't want to get necro-bitten or Rose. I guess Rise the Challenge doesn't quite get the job done here, but it is only 1 damage. You don't want to be too greedy. Got that potential card engine. You're gonna get the life right back anyway. He just takes it. Here's 3 mana for another 1-power 3-drop. This one is Grim Guardian. So ping ping knocks Nathan Holiday down to 17. Draw a card, reveal Faded Conflagration. Obviously a sweet card, but unfortunately for Holiday, he's out of mountains. And he's not getting at least immediate value on his Courser of Crufix here.
He's got a second mountain in his hand.
Oh, he does, sorry. think that's the last one, though.
Yeah, he doesn't have the third.
Four cards?
Five.
I don't know. I don't know.
Let's see. You should
So
know.
Holiday surveying the
I do
scene
know
here.
Giant
He's got
Yeah.
4 mana. He can go for
You don't know two.
a bestow here. Otherwise, he doesn't really have much of a play. He's got Flurry of Horns, Pinnacle of Rage, Leaf Crown Dryad.
Let's see.
He could also just cast the Leaf Crown Dryad if he wants.
Yeah, I think there's like another 4 probably.
You have how many cards?
I got 3.
Seems like you want to bestow Leaf Crown Dryad here.
It would keep the Grim Guardian from being able to attack,
Exactly.
and it effectively keeps the Servant of Timuret from
Right.
attacking as well, because it makes Vidianto Ujaya use up the majority of his mana for the turn. Down the line, it can matter because Vidi does have Portent of Betrayal,
Not to attack.
which if you stack everything up on one guy, it can be a punishing play, but not too bad. Looks like he's actually considering an attack here.
Yeah, I'll-
Essentially
Interesting.
trading 4 for 4.
That's an interesting
Not on
attack. It feels like Vidi
if you don't have any
would be able to win this race because of the Servant of Timuret getting that drain in there,
Yeah,
and then a
that's the fourth
random,
point,
and then the random enchantments
17.
that Vidi might play
Right.
can help with Grim Guardian, but looks like Nathan doesn't want to wait around. He just wants to get in there.
I guess he knows he's building up to Flurry of Horns, Pinnacle, Faded Conflagration. His hands.
I'm gonna bestow on the Traitor Constellation.
Yeah, and this is
Reasonably
ugly.
well set.
This is ugly here for Nathan. He's going to take a wallop here.
Yeah.
He took 1 damage from the Grim Guardian thanks to the bestowed Nyxborn Eidolon, but it's also going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 more damage, dropping Nathan Holiday down to 11. He doesn't find a mountain
Yeah,
on
that's
top.
not a land. He needed a land there.
Yeah. He's going to get a land. He's going to get a life back off of the forest. He's going to play from his hand this turn to put him back to 12. So it's not all terrible, but is Flurry of Horns good enough here? I mean, he can hit him for 8. It's a pretty nice life swing there. He's going to play it. The question
Yeah.
is, are we attacking, and if so, with what? Maybe one of them attacks.
I think I drew it.
Huh?
I think I drew it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You drew it after I played it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. That's
What's the conversation?
I think he's just thinking. As the board sits, attacking with both seems fine. I mean, it's a little risky, but he's at 12. The worst Vidi can do with a Portent is do 9, 4, 7, 8, 9 damage.
13.
So yeah, get in there for 4 and leave your 4/6 blocker back. Players are getting life totals synced up there. There was a Servant of Timuret activation. And here's another one, assuming Vidi remembers, which he does. So Vidi pops up to 15. Nathan Holiday down to 10.
Sorry, I've got it kind of messed up here.
yeah. So I was at 17, and then I took 4,
Yeah, yeah,
and then I go to 13, right?
Okay, wait, what do you have? You're probably right.
Looks like
Yeah.
there's maybe have a slight life total discrepancy here, so we're working on that.
I go to 13, and then I go to 14.
Okay, yeah, I marked it down wrong.
You got it?
Yeah. So,
14, 11. Yeah. 14, 11.
so I'm at 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll draw.
Okay, so 14 to 11 it looks like is what they settled on here. So Vidi attacks here. It's only got 4 toughness.
You block,
Nathan
right?
can block, yes. Block it. Oh, he's only tapping 2. That's not
2.
good
That's,
for
that's
Nate
not
Holiday.
regeneration mana.
4, 6. 4, 6. I'm gonna hammer, and I'm
Fall of the Hammer
So this guy dies.
is going to finish off the Courser. You can go ahead and flip over your Cyclops there, Nathan Holiday. Or at least just don't flip over the next card. And Holiday's now facing down a 1/1 and a 1/4. this is an interesting turn of events here because I don't know if VD knows that Nathan has another land in hand. And if he wants to block with his Grim Guardian, could get a little ugly for him. He knows about the Pinnacle of Rage.
Right.
That would open up the Grim Guardian to getting picked off by Pinnacle, and maybe the Brain Maggot dies too. The Servant is out of range for that 3 damage. But I think Holiday would be pretty happy if he gets in for some damage here and picks off 2 of VD's creatures while getting a Magma Jet back in the process. But the problem from VD's perspective is that Nathan does not have the 6th mana on the battlefield.
Right.
So he doesn't know if he needs to play around it or not here.
Taking 6, it doesn't feel great. He knows there's a Fated Conflagration in there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to just take 6.
7? Six, right? So I did 8. You're at 13? Yeah. 13, right?
Yeah. I took 4 and I gained a life from this, so I go to 14.
Oh. Okay. Sorry, I heard you wrong.
Looks like Reed Duke fell to the RoboCop.
Okay,
Wow.
Yeah, in Reed's own words, he says Dmitry slaughtered me.
Very tiny life change.
Wow.
Yeah, so Dmitry Budakov, Magic Online champion, looks like he's going to be in.
So, I mean,
today, too.
Reed Duke went 6 and 3 in that order.
Hmm.
I think he might have.
Yeah, so he 3-3'd with that pool.
Wow.
That's got to be disappointing. He had a really nice deck.
Door left slightly ajar for Jeremy Dizani.
Indeed. So Vidianto Ajaya takes the hit, gains 1 back up. Nathan Holiday does show, yep, I have the land, but I'm not going to use it on anything other than playing a Cyclops. And it's not a happy Cyclops, it's an angry Cyclops. All right, here's 4 mana for Vidi. His last card in hand is Fate Unraveler. He's going to get a trigger. This adds up fast.
Yes, yes it does.
Now it's 9 for Nathan Holiday. And pass the turn back.
8.
8 tick-tock. It was a land, but it was not a mountain. So no Fated Conflagration just yet for Nathan Holiday. He does have access to Pinnacle of Rage, and it looks like he's considering firing it off first. Now this is a fairly complex board state here. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, Pinnacle
Nathan
doesn't
Holiday-
kill anything but the Brain Maggot.
What's that?
Pinnacle doesn't kill anything but the Brain Maggot.
Right, but
It's a-
post-combat it can.
Yes.
And he's got issues here. The Fate Unraveler's a big problem for him. The Servant,
I mean, if
less
Nathan
so.
turns them all sideways, hypothetically, VD is obliged to block. It's
Yes.
9 power. But
Remember,
the
the Ill-Tempered Cyclops can go monstrous here. He's got the mana ready. And there's quite a bit going on here. Now, Nathan Holiday is no stranger to working through complex boards. If you were with us a little earlier today, you will have seen him play against David Ochoa, where they had something like
Perhaps-
70 permanents on the battlefield,
perhaps
and
the
Nathan
craziest
worked
board
it
I've
right
seen
through.
in months.
Yeah, and Nathan just worked through it.
He attacked him on turn 37 for Xaxes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was 21.
Well, maybe not turn 37, turn 20 something.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah, it wasn't like Xaxes was 7.
Yeah.
Xaxes was 21.
right. And he needed like 6 creatures to get through, and he had to consider a Bow of Nylea activation. Like, that thing got pretty serious.
Just the Cyclops is going to trigger some blocks. I don't think VD wants to just take a Cyclops hit.
I mean, this is an interesting attack on its own because the Servant of Timurat can just block and regenerate. Basically forces Nathan Holiday to monstrous, I guess. If he does that, he'll get in for 2 damage. But interestingly, VD can actually stack block if he wants as well and really force the hand.
All right. Nathan put Unraveler in the front.
You guys don't forget to keep the game moving along, right?
Yeah, so he goes monstrous,
Yeah,
which
so-
means
Yeah, 4 or 5, 6.
Cyclops and Unravel or die.
Yeah. You know, I think Nathan was happy with that. I think that Fate Unraveler was a real issue for him, as he just didn't have a great way to power through damage, and VD could just sit there, and VD is a very patient Magic player, and just be like, I'm just going to wait 8 turns, or start attacking with my Servant and just 2 you every turn. So I think Nathan Holiday was fine saying, I'm going to spend this turn worth of mana and this card to trade for your Fate Unraveler, and wow. Arbor Colossus now for Nathan Holiday. That's pretty sweet. The Servant of Timuret, very annoying though, as even as a 9/9 with reach that can kill something with flying when it monsters is not going to get through that Servant.
Does not have trample.
Cyclops of One-Eyed Pass.
Leaves up regeneration mana, of course.
Yes. And the Cyclops doesn't really do much on this battlefield.
Mountain number 3 for Nathan Holiday.
He found it?
Yep.
Okay.
And now he's lining up an attack.
Yeah, this can matter in a big way. He can fire that off on the Servant at some point and get it tapped out of the way if he wants. Also, it is an instant, so he can attack with his Arbor Colossus, forcing the regeneration. With regeneration on the stack, he can use his Fated Conflagration to kill the Servant and Scry 2. All right, VD will definitely have noticed that sly little mountain play there. That's a big difference having the 3rd mountain versus
it
the
helps
2nd.
that he saw Fated Conflagration get drawn via Courser.
Right, and he will have written it down on his notepad and know exactly what's going on with that. So he's not going to fall for that trap.
Servant's not going to step in front of Arbor Colossus.
I don't think it will.
It's going to chump block it instead.
I mean, VD wants to double block. But all that does is force Nathan to fire it off.
Right.
Hilariously, VD's going to chump block with his 5/2 instead of his 1/4 because, well, the 1/4 is probably going to get in for more damage this game.
Probably should have just fired off with
Especially versus the Pinnacle of Rage that he knows about.
Correct.
Oh, he can Pinnacle now. He's at 8 mana, right? He can Pinnacle the Brain Maggot and something else, get the Magma Jet back, finish off another creature.
The Grim Guardian or something.
Yeah, I guess it has to be Grim Guardian since Servant still has regeneration mana. But yeah, 8's actually relevantly better than 6.
There
and
it
he
is.
gets to follow up with Magma Jet.
Yeah, he makes that exact play, Randy, killing 2 creatures, getting a Scry 2 out of the deal as well. And Scry 2 at this late stage of the game is fantastic. And he's going to keep destroy target enchantment or land on top. That's going to let him kill Nyxborn Eidolon or something else.
Is Nathan Holiday going 9-0 here?
God, I really like how he's been playing.
Yeah, it's been a very well played game. Joining William Jensen? Is it just the 2 of them, or is there going to be a 3rd?
Unsure. I don't have the standings in front of me. Bolt of Keranos, you.
Intriguing.
Is what just happened there. What do you make out of that?
Well, he wants the Scry trigger. I think he's got Lightning Diadem in his hand that can deal 2. I think he's trying to dig for one more removal spell. Trying to figure, okay, I can chump block, buy myself a turn. I'm not sure it adds up to 5, but I mean, you do what you got to do. Well, he can block and regen with Servant here. So then he's down to needing 1 more point.
Fated Conflagration, and that's it. He's got to regenerate, and Nathan Holiday has lethal. If VD had anything, pump spell, something to save it, he could have, but he didn't have it. And I love how Nathan played that game.